Before we look at how to list products for sale on Amazon, let's spend a few minutes looking at the actual product pages and understanding how everything fits together. Every product sold by Amazon has its own page. That doesn't mean every product for every merchant. If 38 merchants sell the same product, that's not 38 different pages. That's one page with associated pages showing information about the 38 merchants selling that product. For example, let's look at this book. This book's a single product. It's a particular book with a particular title, published by a particular publisher. It even has a unique identifying number, the ISBN number, the International Standard Book Number. In fact, these days, books have two unique identifiers, a 10-digit and a 13-digit ISBN. Of course, books often have different editions, and each edition is a different product. This book is available in this hardback edition, but also in paperback, Kindle, and Audible book editions. Audible is Amazon's audiobook download service. Each one of these is regarded as a separate product and has its own separate product page. You'll notice that if we go into the paperback edition, we see different ISBN numbers. If we click on the Kindle edition, though, we'll see that it doesn't have an ISBN number. Kindle editions can have ISBNs, but they're not required. But notice this, the ASIN, generally pronounced A-sign. This is the Amazon Standard Identification Number, and every product in the Amazon system has an A-sign. Amazon began life selling books, and thus for historical reasons, it uses the book's ISBN number as the A-sign, and so doesn't bother displaying A-signs on most book pages. But for all other products, Amazon creates a new A-sign when the product is first entered into the Amazon system and displays the A-sign on each page. Here, for example, is the A-sign for the Nikon D90 digital camera. This, then, is the D90 product page. The D90 is a particular camera model sold by a particular manufacturer. However many merchants are selling this camera, Amazon doesn't want more than a single product page for the product. There are currently dozens of merchants selling this camera, so imagine if each merchant had its own product page of the D90 and that they were separate product pages for all merchants selling all the millions of products Amazon sells. The system would be unusable, a nightmare for buyers to dig through. If you're planning to buy a digital camera from Amazon, the first decision to make, as far as Amazon is concerned, is which camera. Only then do you choose which merchant you plan to buy from. So the single page per product model makes perfect sense. So let's say you plan to sell a D90. You're not going to go into your Seller Central web console and create a product page. Rather, you're going to add your item to the existing product page. We call this listing against a product or listing against an A-sign. Let's look at the components of the product page. The product page contains a product title, of course, and states the name of the manufacturer. Clicking this displays a page listing more products from that manufacturer. So this name here is the company that makes the product, not the company selling the product. You won't be entering or changing this information when you add your product. This information will already be in the Amazon system. Most products have photos, of course. Again, when you first list a product, you won't be adding these. They're already there. Down here, we see the product price, and we also see the name of the merchant selling the product. This is the merchant that is featured, in effect, in the buy box over here. Click the Add to Cart button in the buy box, and this merchant's product is added to your cart. Being up at the top here is a very good thing, of course, as many people will simply click the Add to Cart button and accept the default choice. We'll be discussing the buy box in more detail in the following video. The featured product does not always have the lowest price, by the way. It's more likely the lowest price for the product being shipped from an Amazon warehouse. So there may be cheaper non-FBA offers. You can see the advantage of using FBA and letting Amazon ship for you. Of course, if the only merchants are non-FBA merchants, then the chosen merchant up here has to be a non-FBA merchant, as in this example, in which you can see there's no Fulfilled by Amazon label. But generally, Amazon gives preference to FBA merchants. In many cases, the top listed merchant's going to be Amazon itself, because let's not forget that Amazon is also a merchant, not merely the operator of a marketplace. If we go back to the book we were looking at, we'll see that in this case, Amazon is the merchant. Now, back to the camera. Down here, we have a couple of choices. We can choose to buy just the camera body or the camera body along with the lens. Notice, though, that when we switch, we're actually viewing a different product listing. You'll see that the price and merchant changes, the photos change, the A-sign number changes, and so on. You can think of these controls as working as links between different but related product pages. As we scroll down the page, we find product information, sometimes pretty basic, sometimes quite elaborate and extensive, as you can see here. Again, when you list your product against the A-sign, you don't have to worry about these things. They're already there. So let's say that a buyer has decided on the product that he or she wants to purchase. The next step is to decide which merchant to buy from. Many will simply click the Add to Cart button, buying the one presented by Amazon as the top choice, often the lowest priced product being shipped by Amazon. But Amazon does present other options in various ways. On this page, for instance, immediately below each of the 2 editions that merchants can sell, only Amazon can sell Kindle and Audible books, Amazon lists other options: 306 used from $1.75, 139 new from $5.98, and so on. And over here, we have a Buy Used option button. Clicking this presents a single used option. Again, usually the cheapest FBA option for the used condition. So let's say our buyer decides to see if he can save a little money, perhaps by buying used. He clicks on one of these links and ends up in the merchant page, where Amazon lists all the merchants selling the product. Depending on the link the buyer clicked, one of these tabs will be selected, showing all the merchants, just the merchants selling new, just the merchants selling used, or just the merchants selling collectibles. This is a very important checkbox. Clicking the Prime Offers or Offers with Free Shipping checkbox removes all the non-FBA merchants from the list. If the checkbox is ghosted, then there simply aren't any FBA merchants anyway. But look what happens when we click this. We started with dozens of merchants, but one click and a lot of them are gone. Notice also these images. They're fulfilled by Amazon and Prime logos. Even if the buyer doesn't use the checkbox, these logos work to encourage the buyer to buy from FBA merchants, putting non-FBA merchants at a disadvantage. Now notice the comments and photos. Providing information like this can help sell a product by giving the buyer a certain comfort level, in particular for used products. Admittedly, it's relatively rare for books, more common for more expensive products. What do we know about this product, for example? Nothing except that the seller claims it's used very good. For this one, though, we have an extensive description and photographs. The buyer's shown the item. It looks in decent condition, and that may be enough to make a sale. The buyer knows that Amazon will guarantee the sale, so just a little extra comfort, as it were, can be enough to push someone into a purchase. We also see a little information about the merchant, the name, of course, but also ratings, something that we'll be talking about in a later video. These guys have really hurt themselves by allowing their ratings to drop so low. Obviously, the ideal is to have many, many ratings with an overall high score. Clicking on the merchant's name, the seller profile link, or the % positive link takes the buyer to information about that particular merchant. The buyer can see what else the merchant's selling, but also, more importantly, see what other buyers have to say about the merchant. Amazon has to look after its customers more than its merchants, so one thing they provide is a great guarantee, and they continually mention this to buyers. They want buyers to know that regardless of which merchant the purchaser chooses, Amazon stands behind the sale. However, there's still a nuisance factor in picking the wrong merchant. The buyer may not ultimately lose money, but there's all the hassle of disputing a transaction if something goes wrong. For this reason, Amazon buyers generally prefer to buy from FBA merchants, and failing that, from merchants that have good reviews and ratings.